Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to talk about why society hates tutors. When I became a tutor, I felt kind of like the black sheep of the education world. And even in my life as a tutor, once I was interviewed for a PBS documentary and they took my words, I actually even said that line that we're like people consider us the black sheep of education. And they minced up my words and literally demonized me. Left and right, all over the place. When I'm the person who's literally on YouTube with 200 and something thousand subscribers, giving away content for free, trying to help people learn, trying to scale what I do in some way. First, I just want to talk about the irony of this a little bit, because in some ways, tutors are awesome, right? One, we help students through their challenges in individual ways. Two, we get to teach in ways that address the whole student. Oftentimes when you get to the point where you need a private tutor, it's because that sort of one-size-fits-all instruction didn't work in some way. And there's something going on with you a lot of the time that as an independent tutor, we can dig in and figure that out and figure out what is it that you need help with and why, and how can you overcome your challenges. And a lot of times the answer isn't just learning percents. And sometimes it is. Sometimes it's totally learning percents. Now, Eric Cole in his Substack wrote an article back in March called Why We Stopped Making Einsteins. And he suggests that one reason that might be true is that geniuses in the days of old were aristocratically tutored, meaning they had one-on-one, super smart people walking them through subjects in a super engaging, personalized way. And as he points out, despite its well-known effectiveness, tutors' modern incarnation almost universally concerns specific tests. In America, the advanced placement tests, the SATs, and the GREs, he calls the holy trinity of private tutoring. So this brings me to my first point of why society hates tutors. They hate us because we are associated with standardized tests. And people hate standardized tests. Right? Nobody likes sitting in a room for 5 hours, grueling through something that they feel like they have to do. And because we often teach to the test, it's assumed that the work that we do is simply either A, milking a system and preying on, students whose test scores probably won't go up anyway, and we're just like getting their money and pretending like we're going to help them, which isn't the case. Or B, that they're just buying a test score, and if they just work with us, we're going to show them all of these tips and tricks and secrets to the test, and then suddenly we're going to wave our magic wands, and after 10 hours of tips and tricks, their student will magically get a better score on the SAT. When in fact, we're coaches who are working with students one-on-one to help them discover how to be adaptable, to help them discover how do I rewire my habits, to help them understand how do I read more quickly, how do I come up with multiple problem-solving strategies, right? How do I speed read? How do I handle percent problems, gear problems? How do I use a colon? I think a lot of people don't see us as people who are actually educating students, but we are. I know because that's what I do on the ground with people, and that's what I feel, and I know that I teach people. And so it's disappointing and annoying. But anyhow, being associated with standardized tests. Reason number one, just a quick plug. If you're looking for a tutor, we have them at supertutortv.com/tutoring. We also have a couple of online video-based courses for the SAT and the ACT. I've coached students to perfect scores on both of these tests myself, and so that's the level of instruction that you're going to be getting from those courses. I also have some live classes we've started to dabble in. If you're interested, check it out at supertutortv.com. Cool. So reason number two is money. In an ideal conception of society, education is not just a privilege, it's something of a public good, a right, something that everybody should have access to. And I certainly believe that in many ways, that we all deserve education, and that education is something that should be available and that should be free. The cost of private tutoring has expanded quite a bit over the course of my career as a tutor, like how much it costs to get somebody to one-on-one who's an expert or who knows what they're talking about to work with your student in a particular subject. It's expensive, right? But at the same time, there's a ton of value to tutoring. And this is the irony, is that even though people don't want to pay money for it, or because they think education should be free, there's a huge demand for it. Because what we do as private tutors is we help students learn, and learning is so valuable to us, right? I would also say that in a society where tutoring isn't valued in some ways because we're the black sheep and we have to do a test prep and everybody doesn't like that, it also means that fewer people want to go into the field, and then that just ironically drives prices up. Anyhow, that brings me to my next point, which is equity. So not only is the issue money, that people are like, I shouldn't have to pay for education or something like that, but also this idea of equity, that tutoring doesn't feel fair for some people. And it's true. It's not very scalable, right? You work with people potentially one-on-one. And that's not super scalable. And so that's not going to be fair because there's a limit to how many people have time to work one-on-one with students to help them learn. And there's a limit to how much of that we can afford as a society. It's true. Tutoring isn't fair, but just because it isn't fair doesn't mean that we have to demonize it in society. I would think that learning should be positive. I would think that if people are teaching people, that should be something that's redemptive, that's positive, that we value in society. And it's true, maybe not all of us have it, but that doesn't mean that we have to demonize the fact that it exists. Next on my list is culture. So the other thing is that not all cultures treat tutoring the same. In Southern Europe, for example, it's much more common to have people working individually one-on-one with people. In Greece, for example, 95% of university students had English support outside the classroom. In South Korea, 73.1% of middle school students had access to private tutoring outside of school in 2021. In some Asian countries, some surveys have found that families spend 40% at times on average of their income on outside of the classroom education and tutoring, which is crazy. I'm not saying everybody should spend that much money, but I'm saying that in other societies, what tutors do is potentially valued much more. Anyhow, there is one little loophole that I see here, and that is that as somebody who coaches people through the college admissions process, I've noticed something, and that is that one of the #1 activities that I see on students' activity roster is tutoring other people, generally as a volunteer. So there is an army of volunteer, super smart tutors out there that are high school students that are potentially doing it for free. And I've talked to students who started their own little tutoring company, and they found a bunch of tutors, and they literally don't have enough students. They don't have enough people who need help. So my proposal would be is that maybe if you have a kid who's younger, or maybe if you know of people in your community who need help, if we can connect people like high school students or like volunteer tutors, or maybe people who are in, nursing homes, maybe they still remember how to do algebra even if they're older and they could tutor people. I just feel like that there's pockets in our world that are not necessarily being utilized, and that the economy of tutoring has been shoveled into just test prep, and maybe we need to expand that, and maybe we need to be kinder and more open to the idea of one-on-one helping each other is a good way to learn. It doesn't always have to cost, hundreds of dollars an hour. And if we built it into our culture as something that was more acceptable, right? Maybe we would have more people who did it, and maybe we could all, benefit from the wellspring that maybe it created geniuses, maybe it didn't. I'm not going to take a side on Eric Hol's essay, but there you go. In any case, I hope you guys like this video. If so, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet. And if you're looking for a private tutor, we have some on our website, supertutortv.com/tutoring. If you know of free tutoring resources that you'd like me to post, go ahead and put a comment below this video. We'd love to include it. And you can find us at supertutortv.com if you need anything else. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Take care, everyone.